Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to yet another episode of Rendezvous with Anza Saqib on CxO Global TV. CxO Global Forum is a knowledge sharing platform for all C levels across Pakistan and the globe, and we take massive pride in being able to contribute to the knowledge economy. Part of what we do is interact with thought leaders and influencers in the corporate industry who have really made their mark and have learned over the years about what the best practices are. These are the key thought leaders for the future, and we're very proud to have them as part of our CXO members panel. Today as well, we're interviewing Mr. Adnan Ahmed. He's the head of ICT and CISO at Ornua, a dairy cooperative headquartered in Dublin. Now, one of their biggest successes is that they have annualized sales of over 2.3 billion euros and Ireland's largest exporter of Irish dairy products, exporting to 110 countries worldwide. Adnan Saab has more than 20 years of experience in the IT industry, ranging from app development, solutions architecture, and design, building and implementing security operations. So, after several years of working in the manufacturing sector, Adnan understands that information security risk must be measured, evaluated, and prioritized across the enterprise. And this is where the greater risk evaluation can be achieved. Adnan translates complex technical information to audiences on all levels, generating support and consensus on common missions and goals. He's passionate about cybersecurity and he works closely with his peers, providing guidance and sharing information. We're very delighted to have you here today, Adnan. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Anza and CxO Global for having me on the show. I'm privileged to be part of CxO Global Forum.
Okay, lovely. So, Adnan, without further ado, let's hear about your personal journey. Where did you go to school? What courses did you study? How did you end up becoming the head of IT and CISO? How did you end up where you are at?
So I'm originally from Karachi, Pakistan. So I'm from a middle class background. Studied schooling from the public school, then went to college in Delhi College, where I did my intermediate. Then I did my graduation from NID University in electrical. Spent 3 years in Karachi in a software house, then moved to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, where I worked there for 2 years. And then I moved to Ireland back in 2006. So I'm working in Ireland for more than 15 years now. So that's where my journey started. Worked on different platforms, application development, as you mentioned in my intro, security, architecture design. So that's where I am. I've been as head of ICT and CSO for the last 2 years with Ornua and managing the whole IT department globally.
Right, absolutely. It is an inspiring journey, Adnan, but I can't help think about the fact that the brightest minds of Pakistan, generally, like your good self, have left the country. People call this the brain drain. So, what was your motivation to leave Pakistan? And what would you suggest to the younger generation? This is obviously, it can be taken in a much positive light as well.
Yeah, I think people have different motivations when they go abroad. It could be further study. They are doing it. When I did my graduation, number of people actually in my class fellows, they moved to US or Germany. Environmental situation, maybe security issues in Pakistan at that time. Career progression is one of them, and money, obviously. As I mentioned, I came from the middle class background, so money was an important factor for me to go abroad. I spent 2 years in Saudi, as I mentioned. And then I got stagnant. The career-wise, I was doing well, but the situation in Saudi was not as good as these days now. The situation has quite improved. Then I decided to move from Saudi and look for opportunities in Europe and US. Then I got an opportunity in Ireland, and that's why I'm here. I would say that if there is a will, there is a way. So I was trying to find the right country where I can show my skills. So that was one of the reasons I moved. I learned a lot from Ireland. The countries in Europe and US allows you to become a permanent resident and also citizen.
Absolutely.
So I'm a dual citizen. With respect to what I would advise to younger generation, there are a lot of opportunities these days as compared to when I left Pakistan back in 2005. PM Imran Khan has taken some
Announcement
serious
of
steps.
technologies. Yeah.
Yes, I would maybe mention a few things like Global Technology Zone, that STZ that they call it, is very important step towards betterment of the software industry. Bring investment, foreign direct investment, like ardent prosper because of the foreign direct investment. All of the global
Absolutely. I was just going to quote
companies,
that
yeah.
example. So you have seen it firsthand.
Yes, yes. All of the global companies, their EMEA headquarters are in Dublin. You just name it: Google, Microsoft, Amazon. You just name it, and all of them, Facebook. And the benefit that they got from this foreign direct investment is the investment that these companies are making into local youth. It's very easy for a graduate in Ireland to join these big multinational companies, whereas the opportunities in Pakistan are limited. These big companies have very small offices. But I think we are going to the right direction in Pakistan. The initiatives that PM Imran Khan is taking is commendable. And also I'm seeing there are a number of national incubation centers. There were none when I left. So I would definitely encourage you to try your luck within the local, look for startups. I've seen a lot of startups happening these days. So I would say the future is bright. But I would also encourage the the people who have the power in Pakistan to look for somehow bring big multinational companies to Pakistan, not only by making some small investment, but looking for their development centers. If you compare with India, development centers, public cloud offering, e-commerce platforms. So we have number of e-commerce platforms, but mostly are locals. So I would suggest like Amazon Web Service, if they offer their own Amazon cloud, and also if they offer their e-commerce platform, you name it, like eBay, these guys. So it will bring opportunities and also give opportunity for youth to excel their careers. So there is much more
Absolutely.
opportunities available. Yeah.
Absolutely. Today we are sitting at the Daftar Khan co-working space in Lahore,
Mm-hmm.
and we just had a brilliant session with some key industry giants about the e-commerce and retail industry in Pakistan. So there's a lot of potential that's coming in. Earlier, obviously, we had problems with digital payment gateways and everything, and now the concern is that fine, even if you bring these vendors, you can bring in big companies. That's all right. It is going to create a lot of sales, a lot of jobs. However, one thing that Pakistan still struggles with is freelancers. And freelancers here, so there could be like a young man selling original artwork online, but there is no system of like there's no digital payment gateway or systems of getting those money, the money for freelancers. So I think that's one area. What do you feel? Do we need to work on these things for freelancers in particular?
Absolutely. I think the freelancing area is excelling, especially in Pakistan. They are well ahead of even in India in number of areas. So I think the main difficulty they are facing is how to get the money back when
Absolutely.
they are making doing those developments. And the same problem happens with multinational companies, even local companies in Ireland to invest in Pakistan. How do they invest? How do they make sure that the companies
Absolutely, because businesses can't, send money back and forth,
yeah.
right? Absolutely. But obviously, what we have learned with the new payment gateways being implemented, with fintech on the rise, with cashless banking and so on and so forth. Um there is a lot of concern about cybersecurity. So, what exactly does cybersecurity mean to you, and how important is it these days? How important is it for all of us to keep ourselves secure? Because, like for me, if I talk about it, like literally everything from my credit card to my fingerprints to all my medical information is everything is on the phone. So, security, as we know it, they say is a myth these days.
Yeah, I think it's one of the common questions that everyone asks about uh, how important is cybersecurity? What exactly is cybersecurity? So I will try to describe in maybe one sentence. It's a collective methods, processes, and technologies that allows a company or employee to protect the three main things: confidentiality, integrity, and availability of software systems, networks, data from bad guys, from hackers, and also unauthorized access. So what at the end you're looking to do is to protect your intellectual property, your personal data, information assets from these bad guys. This could be from internal threat, external threat, and also from natural causes. It could be you have to look into natural disasters as well. So it combines these three main elements. So when you go into the detail, what are the main pillars of cybersecurity that you look into? As my role as CISO, I normally look for the application security is very important. The application that we are either deploying and implementing must be secure. The identity management is very important factor. So you have touched about, you have number of things, application installed on your phone. So one of the key element for these things to make sure you have multi-factor authentication enabled. So when I'm doing a
Absolutely.
shopping on Amazon, I need to make sure I have multiple factor or second factor authentication enabled. Otherwise, you are at a risk. The network security is also another element, and data security, they are part of the same thing. Then cloud security, companies are going to the cloud, but they shouldn't be just going cloud without thinking about how this will help. So definitely cloud security is an important factor of it. The continuity plan, as I mentioned, around natural disaster. What will happen if your system is down because of natural disaster or cybersecurity incident? So how do you manage that incident? And the last but not the least area is user education. You have to educate your people, your employees, a common person to understand what is cybersecurity, what type of damage that they can do it. So if we educate a common person understanding when they are using their mobile phone for a banking application, what kind of security protocols they should use it, how do they make sure that their mobile device is protected? We shouldn't be like jailbreaking our iPhone or smart devices, and making sure that we're not installing mobile apps that we are not really sure of that they are secure or not. So it's a complete combination of number of things that you do to protect your company.
Right. Absolutely. But with the last year, with the pandemic and everything, we've seen some businesses that have grown exponentially. Some businesses that have made, very heavy losses. While one thing that remained common was that there was a learning curve for all businesses, all lines of work. And then the second thing was almost every business, especially in a polarized market like Pakistan, had to digitally transform themselves, right? And with that, a lot of businesses, I think, are also when you talk about cloudification and everything, there are a lot of risks that come with it, just like you mentioned some things. So, can you pinpoint in the context of businesses in particular? How important it is, how important is this awareness about security for employees? And we've heard terms like phishing, wishing. Could you also, like spam? Could you also explain a little more about these?
Yeah, these are all part of social engineering, and this is one of the important factor that we as CISO to protect it. But this is normally what these hackers and bad guys are doing. They're looking for exploiting human weakness to gain access to personal information and also protected systems. One common example is a hacker can leave a USB drive outside at the reception intentionally, and someone else will pick up an employee and then connect it because thinking that I've got a free USB drive, but they never thought about that USB drive can infect the computer, but not only the computer, but the whole network. So there are a few common things that we normally train our employees, and it's very important. In my company, we do a monthly security webinar, in making awareness, bringing awareness to our employees to making sure that they understand. So one of them, like very common one, is the phishing. So it's like when bad guys or hackers try to trick you into taking an action you shouldn't, such as clicking off a link
Wait.
or downloading a file. So it's very common in phishing. People are happening. So what we do is to simulate that phishing campaign, train our staff that how do they pick that this is a phishing email, look for the signs of the phishing email. Is it coming from a legitimate source? Should I click that link if it is coming from unauthorized source? So there are ways you can protect and be aware of the phishing. And it's very important. Human is the weakest link in security. You can have all state of the art solutions. You have the firewall state of the art firewall and everything, but human is the weakest link. And then if you don't protect them, you don't train them, then it's a problem. The another few things I will maybe mention around is smishing, which is similar to phishing, but in this, occasion, what happens that the hackers send you a misleading text, and to allow you to click a link from that text. I have seen this great examples here in Ireland when you receive a text from Amazon that, okay, your delivery is delayed, and then
Yeah.
click a link to specify, but technically, and sometimes you're actually waiting for a delivery from
It
Amazon
happened
here
to
in
me in the
Ireland.
US as well. So
Yeah,
I've literally gotten that. So, please carry
that's
on. So
yeah,
I'm one
that's
of the
very common.
first victims. Yeah.
Yeah. And there is a scam happening these days around banks are sending. Hackers are using a bank name to send you a SMS message that your account is compromised. Click here, that link to access to the bank website. Sometimes I don't even have an account in the bank. So we train our staff. So I would highly recommend other companies to do the same thing. The third one is around phishing, which is the same
Yeah.
technique, but this is how the hackers make you a phone call, coming from a number that is known to you, and then trying to pretend to be maybe an officer from revenue or from social security or from the government officials, and asking you to threaten you, or trying to making sure that they try to get information out from you. It could be maybe sense of urgency, that we found something on your phone. You have to provide your social security number, your national identity card number, other information. So this is one of the another common way, and it's on the rise since during the COVID-19. Here in Ireland, people are getting payments from the government when they lost their job. And what was happening, these hackers were calling them that, okay, oh, click this link to do something. So they're exploiting the situation in COVID-19. I'm sure this is similar thing is happening in Pakistan as well.
Right, absolutely. So, coming more of your personal journey, I was reading a quote by Napoleon Hill yesterday, and it says, and I quote, most great people have achieved their greatest success just one step beyond their greatest failure, unquote. How can you tell us about a time where you would accredit it to your biggest failure, where you almost give up? How did you feel about it? How did you overcome it? Because obviously, after spending so many decades in the industry, I'm sure you made some mistakes along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Like when I was working in Saudi, I spent 2 years over there. I was a bit stagnant there with respect to my career progression. I was doing work on a number of technologies, but I was not seeing the next step. And I spent 2 years over there. I'm saying, what should I do here? So what I did, I gained new skill set. At that time, SharePoint was booming, is one of the technology, and was working on content management server. So I tried to start learning new skills, spend some times, convince my management to start trying to bring more business, and also then looking for opportunities outside Saudi. One of the main difficulty or the thing I faced within the Middle East is nothing is permanent. Even though you spend 20 years in Middle East, you have to go back to your own country. You can't become a permanent resident, so you can't really make this as a home. Whereas if you're in Europe, USA, or Canada, or even Australia, New Zealand, you can make this as a home country, but still helping Pakistan. So during those times, when I spent 2 years, I was not really sure where I was going. I was quite down at that time, and I started looking for jobs in US. So at some points, I was applying for jobs. One day, I was sending 100 CVs to different countries. Mostly, I was targeting Ireland, UK because of the English-speaking country, and luckily, I got job offer. So I moved directly from Saudi to Ireland. So I'm grateful to Ireland that they have given me opportunity. At the same time, I didn't give up, that I was stuck not doing anything. So I learned new technologies, look for what was in the demand at that time, and also keep applying, and got the benefit of that. So I would definitely urge young you that they never give up. There is always a hope. If you keep working hard, you'll always get something.
Those are very, very inspiring words. Mr. Adnan, we couldn't keep track of time, but because your conversation was so enlightening, thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. On an ending note, I'm going to ask you, how has being a part of CxO Global Forum affected your personal and professional life?
It gives me great pleasure to become part of the CxO Global. It gives me opportunity to meet with industry peers, discussing areas of mutual interest, and also allowing me to return back to Pakistan what I have learned, even add my 2 cents into the discussion. I'm always open to help younger youths, mentoring people. I'm also part of Irish Pakistani IT professionals, so I help them through different channels. So that's one of the things I normally do.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Adnan. It's been an honor and a privilege. We will be talking to you a little more on cybersecurity next time in another conversation. Thank you,
Thank you so
ladies
much.
and gentlemen. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. For those of you who want to connect with Mr. Adnan Ahmed, he's available on LinkedIn. Please search for him, or you can visit our CxO global website. It's cxoforum.global. Please write to us with your feedback. We appreciate all the comments and thank you for watching the show. We look forward to seeing you next time with another special guest. Thank you, Mr. Adnan.
Thank you. Bye.